Walid Phares, Fox News national security and foreign affairs analyst. And Walid, it has happened yet again. Thank you for your time today, and let's try and figure it out together. What is your hunch as we try and piece it together now?
Well, Bill, first of all, what drew my attention was the statement made by Prime Minister May, in which she said, we're going to continue to enjoy our freedoms, but something has to change. And that is in contrast with a lot of the political establishment statement that nothing should change. So my question is, what is it that should change? Number one, most likely the public in Britain, and of course even here in America, is asking, what is it that we can do when we encounter these situations? It's on, and more are going to come. So there needs to be a duty by government on both sides of the Atlantic to start addressing the public on what to do. And more than that, the second one is the vetting. The vetting so far is not working, or it's working partially. So what kind of new vetting do we need to have so that we could deter the next waves to come?
I thought that her statement was rather frank, Walid, and I thought it was tough. Do you believe the actions of her government will follow on the words of her address today?
Look, her statement was good also because she's using the terminology we need all to use, which is Islamist, ideological, or movements threats. So we're there now. The British are there at least, and we are. The next question is going to be, what is the state of affairs? I mean, how many of these jihadists are on British soil or on American soil? We need to have that estimate. Second, what is it that we can do to stop more? We have to stop the bleeding. Here comes the discussion of should we ban or not. Thirdly, and most importantly in this case, we need to make sure that authorities on both sides of the Atlantic are able to go after the networks that are inciting. Because every time we arrest them, we look at what kind of networks we're backing them. But who is inciting them and indoctrinating them? That is the real strategic choice.
Here's something that I'm trying to figure out. You've had 3 attacks in England in 3 months, right? Right. When you think about France last year and that deadly year, you had the refrigerated truck in Nice that killed more than 80 on Bastille Day. You had the attacks 7 months prior at the Bataclan in Paris. It was thought that France was a target then because of its ongoing contribution to try and wipe out ISIS in Syria and Iraq. If you follow that logic then, what's the logic for England being the target now, Walid?
Well, it's the same. UK, France, our partners in NATO, and of course the United States, but also our Arab partners, we're all engaged in one thing that is dramatic or tragic to the jihadists, the bringing down of the caliphate. So as we are shrinking the caliphate bit after bit, and I think we're going a little bit slow, we need to go faster, you're going to expect that whatever that caliphate has in terms of branches or supporters around the world, including in Britain and France, they're going to use them. They're going to actually give them the guidelines. Use any weapon you can. So it's not about studying the weapon of the knife or of the car or of the bomb. It's everything they could do to try to delay us.
It is Ramadan. That's been mentioned about 4 times in the first 10 minutes here. Do you think this has a connection to the holy month? When you consider the amount of devastation that occurred during Ramadan last year.
Look, I don't think that Ramadan triggers things. I think that the jihadists use Ramadan, and they would use anything they can, including weaponization of an ideology, including use of new means, and of course including the emotionally charged month of Ramadan to recruit whom? Their own people. This large pool that I'm always asking the question about in Britain or here or in France, how large is that pool?
Roy Blunt was on Fox News Sunday, member of the Intelligence Committee. We heard a comment from him a moment ago. But he was also asked by way of Chris Wallace about the travel ban, and he said the following. Listen here.
My view is the president does have certainly the right to put in place extreme vetting. You know, Chris, it's been 4 months since they said they needed 4 months to put that in place. I think you can do that without a travel ban, and hopefully we are.
He's making the point that it's been 4 months. The request originally was a 90-day temporary ban on those 6-7 countries originally, suggesting that the White House could have completed its mission already, given the time that's expired. What do you think about that, Walid?
Look, Bill, I am not sure. I don't have the information about why 90 days, why 6 months. I mean, is it based on what exactly? But what I can see is that if we had a strategic vetting system not overnight from the last election, but from the last 8 to 10 years. Remember, this whole war had started on 9/11. That's 15 years ago. If we had a vetting system, we may not need a ban travel. The ban travel is basically to stop the incoming of potential jihadists, not of these communities, but the jihadists will penetrate until we find a way for a better vetting. We don't have the vetting system yet, and therefore the ban has also not been implied. So we need a new strategy for both vetting and ban.
Well, you know it as well as anyone. Walid Phares, thank you for your insight today out of Washington, D.C. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.